yen two ohina akonwa so ensan fanin be see akonwa so eye no me. Another one spiritually is that this sword that we hold, that the presidents hold to swear the oath of office. Master, spiritually, you can hold it only twice. Jerry Rawlings held it twice, 92, 96. President Kufuor held it twice, 2000, 2004. President Mills held it once, he died, he left. John Mahama, on the 9th of 24th July, 2012, you held the sword of state and you swore an oath. On the 7th of January 2013, you held the sword of state and swore an oath. You held it twice. Why do you want to hold it 3 times and be a curse upon the country? He cannot. Nana has held it twice. He can't hold it the 3rd time. Why does John Mahama think that Ghana was created for him and that he will come and mess the nation up spiritually and physically? It won't happen. It cannot happen.
Okay, so the whole issue between Kweku Anyi and also the National Democratic Congress, especially the leader, John Dramani Mahama, it is no season. Yeah, that's sorry, Kweku Anyi and the bombshell report about, aside from he saying that he is no longer an NDC member and are supporting John Dramani Mahama and the current NDC team, he is saying that Mahama winning, even though it's democracy, whatever it is, he is rejecting prior appointment before after life physically. He's rejecting it, and I'm not focused adding now what is really going on. Now what we are learning is that there are certain people who want to try and convince Kweku to come back to the National Democratic Congress, his expertise, no from Anna, yes, you perceive Kweku Anyi appointed. This is just what is moving on around. Kweku Anyi T.I. One Kweku Anyi posti Atta's picture. Or posti Atta's picture no anything for or the a nice message. John Dramani Mahama. Listen to this very well. Or say once again, I don't want any appointment in John Mahama's government. God will take care of me for as long as I keep the legacy of President Atta alive. Come on, guy. Who's not there? Or see a bit didi. Ye if you parted. Or see a bit didi. Yamiti a bit didi. Now, this is not just the only thing. A posti. In fact, you know, me say me akwas Ghana ha obiaka wansem the EC collation ya the Kweku Anyi like adding more salt to the injury. No, Kweku Anyi posti as you can see. Or see to him ne or see EC the juma into posti EC reason now or posti reason now EC post on social media why they are doing the recollection. And now Kweku Anyi every posted that particular image. Or say history has very interesting way of repeating itself as the EC is only doing what has been done before per its accepted mandate, Ghana first. To Kweku Anyi coalition it is going for the National Democratic, the New Patriotic Party, the whole country recollation. Now NDC for more smoothness level. But then in other news too, there's this particular in Sama Abekai and Sasisia, and it has to do with an NDC member Asisia Minoka so no so Eden Simbi Ababe Tuja. Now Nipa America na same your friend a year Inusa Fuseni. Now Inusa Fuseni or the Simbi Ababe Tuja say Obi catcher Yisini say they can't allow the National Democratic Congress to win the elections. And clearly what we are experiencing is it confirming that Yenko Sama Inusa Fuseni Tuja Baby to also.
To my mind, the coalition process was still ongoing. And I've heard people cite the case of Tolong, the case of Zavzugu Tatali, the case of Prez. This is exactly what happened in those constituencies. The collation of results through the pink sheets of the various designated polling stations had not been completed. In fact, in the case of Zavzugu, the place was becoming very unsafe for the electoral officers. And so the ballot box, the whole process was moved to the regional office in Tamale. In the case of Tolong, where Abdul Razak became the first NDC MP after Salifu Abdullahi, Honorable Salifu Abdullahi, the wind, there was no way the coalition was going to happen in Tolong. In fact, the ballot papers, the ballot papers, including the pink sheets, inserted into the ballot boxes were destroyed. So they moved the process of collation from Tolon to Tamale and asked the contestants, the various candidates in the election, to produce their pink sheets. And when they produced the pink sheets, they matched them and verified the authenticity of those pink sheets and collated the results in Tamale. This is significantly different.
And this was in 2004.
It's significantly different from what has happened. Indeed, journalists were at the various polling stations, and no journalist reported that a presiding officer of the electoral commission at the at the collation centers that are now the subject matter of these disputed elections was under attack. No journalist reported that. And police officers were assigned to those collation centers. And we've not heard the police say that they were overpowered by a marauding group of people, and that put fear in them, and so they also abandoned their duty, their post. We have not heard that report. And the rules, CIF 2127 says that if your agents, you assign agents to the collation centers, or yourself, you're present at the collation center, or your representatives, if in the event that the results are going to be declared and you abandon the collation center, that should not operate to stop a declaration being made. And so the laws are so clear that I don't think that the court, the High Court, and that's my view, the High Court should have entertained this matter, because there were so many remedies available to the losing candidates to pursue after the declaration of the results. And for me, I think that we should be very careful the path we are treading. And the last question that Oliver Bakavomawo asked is very relevant to these discussions that we're having. He asks whether the EC can recollect results without a court order. Can they? It's my view that they cannot do that. In fact, I even extended to 2020. You remember, I made a lot of comments on the EC changing the results of, the presidential elections 5 times. I simply asked whether the EC could do that without a court order. And today, Oliver is asking the same question. Now,
and the court said what? The EC could do that.
The court even didn't entertain the EC. The court didn't even entertain the EC.
What do you mean by that? The case was concluded.
The case the matter never came up. The matter
that didn't go into the box.
Yes, but the court never pronounced on whether or not the EC can declare results and change the results 5 times. And Samson, this matter is very important for our democracy, for our country, the cohesion of our country. In fact, it is only by God's grace that the people of this country are peace-loving, and they have elected democracy as a form of government over any other government. The conduct of the EC, which is highly incompetent, could throw this country into a mess, and the people could rise up against the EC, and this country would be in flames. Because even with the 7 constituencies, can you imagine what the conduct of the EC could do in these 7 constituencies? Now, it has been said time and again, and particularly for Bosman Asari, that he's repeatedly said, first he said on radio that the NDC was a veritable threat to our democracy. As recently as November this year, he's reported to have told somebody that the Electoral Commission cannot hand over power to cannot allow the NDC to win the elections.
Really?
Really, yes. In fact, and the person he told that was alarmed.
I don't think this is fair.
No,
what we know about was what is on record, which the statement he made on April 26, 2019, as reported that NDC's posture a threat to Ghana's democracy. And this is what he said. I want to read it because this comes up often and we don't go to the specific statement, and sometimes he himself denies it, even though this is what he said. So he said, quote, "I think if there is anyone who is becoming a threat or a potential threat to the democracy we are practicing in our country, then I would rather say that it is the posture of the NDC. Since this new commission took over, we have noticed some of the things that have transpired. Before the Ayawaso West by-election, allegations were rife that the register was bloated, and we also noticed pictures of bloated papers. So we as a commission, we have seen a particular pattern of the NDC. So I don't see why the NDC will turn around and accuse the